Hi guys, this is Pestily and welcome to another Escape from Tarkov video. Today I'm going to be covering what I expect to see, or we expect to see as a community, in 0.9 with changes, and what we need as well. So I'm going to do this like it was patch notes. I'm going to talk about additions, optimizations, and fixes, and then hopefully we can have a bit of a discussion of what we all believe should be in the patch, and then hopefully we can help brainstorm ideas and add to the future of Tarkov's development. So that being said, let's crack straight into it. So first up, the whole premises behind 0.9 is going to be based around one thing, the wipe. Now, is it going to be a full or partial wipe? Personally, I believe it needs to be a full wipe. Now, hear me out. Everyone currently has a fair bit of currency within the game, and they're quite financially stable. Even if you're a newer player, it's not too hard to make up some money once you get the experience in the game to understand it. So, if you wipe everyone's accounts, and if everyone's still got all their quests done, all their passives, there's not really going to be a lot left to do in the game besides farm up more currency again, which really isn't going to increase the player base at all. Because everyone's just going to be like, yeah, cool, I'll just get another key bar from farming some mark circles, I'll get my keys again, and then we're exactly where we were before. So if there's only a partial wipe and you only wipe out the stashes, that's not going to help. If you wipe out every single one back to level 1, it actually brings a lot of freshness back to the game, and therefore people will enjoy being on a level playing field across the board and then be able to go through the game again. So that moves into my next point, the additions. What we need in 0.9 is an end game. Now, I don't know how many times X-Cuddy and now there's Warren TV, and I've pushed above 60 as well, but those two guys, they're pushing for 69. A lot of other people are pushing for high 60s as well. I don't know how many times that we can get our levels wiped and we go push for 69 again. It's just not an enjoyable experience when there's no end game. So if the end game isn't going to come out in 0.9, it needs to be soon after, because you're going to start losing player base because there's nothing really to do once you complete all your tasks. That moves into my next point, new tasks. I know there's a lot of information coming from Broham Nation about a storyline where it's going to have a lot of tasks coming out. Nikita said the same thing. There's going to be cinematics. It all sounds awesome, but we need that sooner rather than later. This stuff needs to start getting into the game to revitalize the enjoyment of the game, because right now it's just turning into a bit of a repetitive grind, and all the streamers out there and all the player base are all trying to bring up their own ideas to make the game enjoyable, being hardcore modes or solo self-funded. Everyone's trying to find the way that they can enjoy the game still. And now that we're still talking about tasks, there needs to be some sort of incentive to do to play the game each day or each week. And this could be easily added by just adding in daily tasks or even weekly tasks. A simple idea would be purely chuck in a daily task where go to a certain map, kill a certain amount of PMCs, and you get a Bitcoin. Simple. It also will take away a bit of the points from, say, take away some of the points from Fortnite, where it's like each week they have a different task or missions for different areas, and then people will get influenced to go to that area. So then if you go, all right, we've got a daily task on today for Woods, all the player base that were on normally playing Factory or Shoreline will now actually want to play on Woods to get their daily task done. Bringing more people across to a different map so other people that enjoy that map more could actually experience it together. This is also give the opportunity for the developers to use stuff like for weekly tasks. Say, for example, they want to make up a new task for later on in the game. They can put in some, or they can play around with the task, see if it works, see if it doesn't, and actually make it more than one thing. So it might be kill some PMCs, loot some random items, and kill some scavs on a certain map. This giving emphasis to people to try out different things and experience the game in different ways, as well as giving the developers an option to try out different tasks or ideas in tasks for the future. Another option is with your daily tasks is you could actually have a monthly task and then put a really rare item in it. You could put a key bar or a factory key that would make an incentive for something that was really rare, and going to have a heap of task objectives and make it over a month. And then that way people have the opportunity that instead of farming Mark Circle or reduce the amount of people hatcheting to Mark Circle, it gives them another option to farm up a particular item. Moving on to additions, everyone's always excited about new weapons. Now, the Mosin would be a really good thing to add for the sniper skills leveling for the Wet Job series. However, I do understand that in Twitter, they said that they weren't releasing it. I'm not really sure what's going on there. I'll leave it at that. So moving on to the next point, new maps. New maps or maps extensions. They said they started to work on the Terra Labs and they released some imagery of it. I also believe that Streets of Tarkov is meant to be in the works. I'm not 100% sure about that. It would be great to get some new maps for exploring. I do understand Interchange was released, but it's probably getting a bit dry for people. Particularly, unfortunately, the issue with adding new maps, I understand, is if you don't have the player base, the maps are quite empty. And if you add another map, you're spreading the player base even thinner over more maps. However, hopefully more maps would be able to make the game interesting to people to want to explore more, and therefore you'll have more players. Other things I believe that should be added to the game, which aren't exactly items, but animations, is you should be able to cancel unlocking doors. The amount of times I've been killed and stuck in an unlocking animation, and where I just want to, like, I hear the person just as I click to unlock a door, all of a sudden I'm hearing the guy coming from the side and I want to cancel the animation to defend myself. I can't do it. So cancelling unlocking doors. One of the most annoying ones I've had in the game, which I can't understand why you can't stop and stand up, but if you're laying prone and you start reloading, there is no way you can stand up. The amount of times I've gone prone, started shooting on someone, started to reload, and then gone, shit, I need to get out of this position. But I've been stuck in the prone position, reloading, and it's killed me. I've slowly pushed myself to stop doing it, but it's quite annoying. Big changes to the game, and I'm hoping that 0.9 will definitely have it, but hey, who knows these days, is med animations. The med animations need to be in the game just to slow down the healing process, so you can't just be sprinting, popping a painkiller, and then straight away putting in some taking meds and healing whilst firing back. It's just too much. It needs to just be dialed down a little bit. Now, I also understand that there's going to be an increasing duration of moving an item from a container to the person. This would be an interesting addition to the game in 0.9. However, I do believe if it's too lengthy, it will detract from the enjoyment of the game. So I hope they don't make it as like 4 seconds to move an item, because if I'm moving 5 items from a container into my backpack, that's like 20 seconds of me just sitting there still. So I really do hope that they only make it like half a second at most, or maybe a second. But who knows? We'll have to wait and see for that one. And next we've got is the scav bosses. Now, I haven't been excited about a content added to the game for ages, except for the scav bosses. If they add scav bosses on 0.9, I think it'll make my day. Purely for the fact that it'll just give a different thing to the game, that it could be something like making the game harder, but working as a group will make it more enjoyable. And it's just, I don't know. I like the idea of maybe even if a scav boss is on the map, like the scav boss isn't on the map at all times, or on every map. It might be rare, every 30, 40, 50 maps. However, when the scav boss does spawn on the map, I reckon there should be like a loud siren, so everyone knows that the scav boss is there, like a creepy, scary siren to say, holy fuck, you know, the general's in the house. Fucking make sure you get out of the way, because, you know, he's here to stuff people's days up, you know. So I think it'd be cool if they make scav bosses really rare, but not extremely rare, as well as that, making it so everyone knows that they're there, and then it'll attract everyone to the one location, so shit's just going to get real in that one spot. I love the idea of that. They did discuss about putting an alarm on the Kibber store. I like the idea of that. Anything that brings more people together if they want to get involved in a big firefight makes the game enjoyable. Now, moving on to optimizations. With optimizations, I could list hundreds of things. But seriously, there's probably 2 that really need to be fixed. Actually, I'll change that. 3 that really need to be fixed. The anti-cheat, the waves of cheaters that spawn in the game, it's actually detracting a lot of people from playing the game. During my streams, I have multiple people come in. They're talking about how they're not happy because they're constantly seeing speed hackers or people like glitching stuff through walls and just random shit going on. It's detracting a lot of the player base. It's making it less enjoyable for people to play. Anti-cheat has to be optimized and efficiently working. Next, desync. I played on Australian servers both today and also American servers. I noticed that there was a massive difference between American servers and Australian servers was shit, right? The desync and the lag, I was actually getting better consistency of gameplay on American servers with a 250 ping than an Australian server with like less than 50. I don't know what's going on, but if Battle Nonsense was to do another coding optimization video for this game, I think it would be going backwards. I can't 100% guarantee that, but I just need to see better optimization in 0.9. And lastly, for the optimizations, they need to stop the stuttering. I still have a lot of stuttering in the maps, particularly if I've been playing the game for after 3 hours. 3 to 4 hours, game starts to stutter. If I don't restart the game after about 4 hours, I'm seeing like up to a second freezes in gameplay, and that's just unacceptable. I don't know what's going on with the coding, but it feels like every time they fix something, something else breaks, and it's really irritating when you play the game for large portions of the time. Now, I understand it's in development, and everyone keeps saying this, but stuff should never be going backwards. They should always be pushing for it to go forwards. All right, so now moving on to fixes, ammo changes. I want there to be one ammo change, and then that is it. So I don't care if you're going to make it so armor's like really strong or really weak, whatever it is, just make it once. All right, worry about the balancing of the ammo and the armor later. Have it just set to one thing. Stop wasting your time on changing the armors and the ammos all around. Just make it one thing. Leave it there for the next 3 to 6 months. Who cares? Let's get the other stuff sorted and then worry about balancing it out again later. People just mold to the meta. So if you change it every 3 weeks, you're just going to make Anton really happy because he gets to make another video every 3 weeks, which is fine. But at the same time, it's like people just like keep coming in and goes, which is the best ammo now? Because it changed like 2 weeks ago. And what armor should I be using? And it's just like, holy crap, why is it changing so much? It doesn't need to change. Balancing doesn't need to change every 3 weeks. Let it just simmer down, put it in one position, leave it there for the next few months, and then just do minor tweaks from that point onwards. You don't need me making massive changes to armor, and oh my god, it's driving me bonkers. Passive skills. Mostly, the major fix that needs to be done with passive skills, it's one thing, strength. Pretty much change strength all the way to where it pretty much does nothing except for the weight you can hold stuff. And then if you're going to change for speed, instead of making it how you can run faster, change it that it reduces the percentage of how much the armor slows you down. So for every level of strength is 1% different. So, you know, at level 51, you'll have 50% reduction in the effect on armor on you. So, for example, a fort drops your movement speed by 20%, it will actually make you 10% slower. Don't worry about making you run faster. That doesn't make sense. All right, and then that will stop so much of the other crap from going on in the game where people are just focusing on any kind of exploit to level their strength. Make the passives linked to the level that you can't have it higher level than you actually are. That will fix a heap of problems there. It's such, I don't know, is it me or is it just common sense, some of these things? But anyway. And the last fix I've got written down is armor fixes. Figure out what's going on with the armor bugging out and make sure it's fixed, because people die into one shot when they should be wearing armor. It's just wrong. So I'll leave it at that. So guys, I understand that all this information is mostly information of an opinion. However, I've compiled all this information from all the podcasts that I've watched, all the information I've read from developers, and then trying to compile what is meant to be coming, using the roadmap, all this information together, and then saying what needs to happen in 0.9. Because right now, the player base is dwindling quickly, and without a good fix and a proper wipe, as in 100% clean wipe for 0.9, this game is really going to struggle once there's a heap of really cool games coming out soon, all based around the same premises of Escape from Tarkov. And so, for example, Scum, what's that, Fallout 76, there's all these really cool games coming out. And so many of these players that love Tarkov will just go, well, it's just groundhog wipe, we'll call it, and there's nothing really to keep playing. So, yeah, cool, play it for a little bit, and then they'll just go away. So, if they want to keep us as testers for this game, they need to like really figure out the direction of the game and start pushing it in that direction. So, I'm going to wrap this up here. Guys, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe for future content. I stream on Twitch 6 days a week, Sunday to Friday. I'd love to hear your comments below if you agree with any of this stuff, if you think there should be other changes. And lastly, I'll see you next time.